Welcome to Color Conversations. My name is Naya. I'm your host. I'm also the founder of Xolani Beauty. Today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Melissa Pope, not to be confused with Olivia Pope, but just as amazing. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
Absolutely. We were introduced by a friend, and he just said you have an amazing story. And after talking to you, yes, you do. So I'm excited to share your story with our listeners.
Great.
Yeah.
My mother is white and my father is black. I was raised in a family of all white people with my stepfather from the time I was a year old, my big brother, my little brother and sister. So that kind of sets the scene for a lot of interesting stories.
So it's a blended family.
It's a blended family before anyone even said blended family.
Right. Okay, so your stepdad had 2 kids.
With my mom, yes. And then before me, my mom had a different husband.
Okay.
So she was married to a white man and then had me after she had my brother and then married my stepdad and had 2 more kids.
Okay.
And until I was 12, we lived in white neighborhoods. So I never met another black person until I was 12. I met my biological father when I was a year and a half. But other than that, I don't remember him.
So you're like the middle child?
Middle child syndrome, yeah.
Uh-huh. And also just different.
Yes.
What was that like for you?
Early on, I didn't know. I didn't know I was different. And I used to always say that. And then I realized when I was 4, my great-grandma gave me a doll who had brown skin. Mm-hmm. And I named her Melissa because I didn't know anyone else with brown skin. So I did know I was different, but it wasn't always right there. It was the first day of kindergarten, waiting at the school bus with my big brother. And someone said, "That can't be your brother. Are you adopted?" And as I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You have brown skin," and my brother beat him up. That was the end of the conversation. So I was very confused that day after school that my parents told me, "Oh, well, you know, your daddy isn't your actual biological father. He's just the one who's raising you." Mm-hmm. And so that's when I realized. And then I had questions about who my father was. And we just didn't talk about it a lot. But if I had a question, my mom would give me a little answer. So
Okay.
yeah, but it did turn into just my brothers and sisters always being there when there was discrimination, because it was all the time once we were all in school.
What kind of discrimination did you face growing up?
Mostly just being made fun of, just being singled out or not having any friends. So maybe playing with my brother on the playground instead of friends. Or there might be that one friend that would play with me and invite me to birthday parties, but then other people wouldn't go to the birthday parties. So things like that.
Really?
Yeah. When we lived in a little town called Frankfort, Indiana. I don't remember what year we lived there, but people would throw things out of their car windows at me.
Really?
And yeah, so that's when we actually learned that gentlemen will stand on the street side of the sidewalk to protect the women in case a car hits a mud puddle or something. But my brothers and sisters would do it in case somebody was going to throw something out of their window. And I would play with a friend across the street, Jenny. She let me play with her all the time. And if our dad came home from work and I was in the house, he would yell, like, "You need to get out of my home." And, I never said I'd ever let a black person be in my home. And you need to get out of my home. I'm sure you're a nice little girl, but you need to go play outside.
And how old were you? This was kindergarten and up.
Yeah, kindergarten up till I was 12 years old. And then we moved to Des Moines, Iowa, literally on my 12th birthday. There was such a mix of people in Iowa. My first day of school, 4 boys asked me to be their girlfriend. Oh. And I thought they were making fun of me. I didn't realize for a while that they were serious. Mm-hmm. And because even then people made fun of me. "Oh, your arms are too long." And I was so skinny, they would ask me if I was from Africa and stuff like that. There's always something wrong. Those situations are what made me realize, like, those people that didn't like me because of the way I looked were wrong. But the people who do like me because of the way I look, they're wrong too. They're not wrong evil or in a mean way, but they're still wrong. So, and to this day, I've never gone out with somebody who went, "You're beautiful, can I have your phone number?" Mm-hmm. Like, no, I have a personality. There's a lot more to me. And I think when people are attracted to me, it's probably more than just me being pretty. They just don't know how to express it if they think that I'm pretty. Right. So, yeah. And it's all just a matter of opinion.
It is, right? When I hadn't met you, what did I ask you? I said, if I look at you,
I think you said, when I look at you, well, I think that you're a black woman. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, it depends on who you are.
Our perception is really shaped by how we grew up and our cultural identity and our family's identity. You could be from anywhere in the world, really. Various parts of Africa, South America, you could be Brazilian. I know in America, there are many boxes for you to check. So when you pick a piece of paper and they say, what does that question say? What is your, I don't know.
Racial identity, maybe? I don't know what it says.
That.
I like to check other because that kind of leaves people wondering, well, what's other? And especially if they didn't see me. And a lot of times I'll mark white and black, but for me, it just depends on the order it's in. If white comes first, I'm not going to mark white. I'll check other because I'm not white and I don't want somebody to look through the list and just say, oh, that person's white, and then stop there. So yeah, it's either other or both. It just kind of depends on the way the form is laid out. But I do always do it. It's always optional, but I do always mark it.
Growing up in your family and growing up in very many predominantly white spaces and going through these experiences as a child, I can't imagine what that felt like, first of all, for your formative years to have this type of anger and vitriol spewed at you continuously, but home was a safe space?
Home was a safe space.
Okay, good.
Very safe.
Good.
Yeah.
But how do you process what you get outside of the home versus what you're getting at home? Where did you find a comfort zone?
It's a lot to do with our parents. So one story, when I was maybe 4 years old, my mom and I were at a thrift shop, and there was a woman, and she was physically deformed. And I remember looking at her and just being amazed. And I remember going, oh, Mom. And my mom grabbed me. She saw what was about to happen and pulled me.
I know what those 4-year-olds do when they're like...
And she said, you know, Melissa, she doesn't know she's different. It's not polite to say anything and to make a big deal about it. And she'll be happy if we don't. So her saying that, I remembered that, especially when people started pointing out that I was different. I asked my parents what's wrong with me, or they would see I had low self-esteem, and there's nothing wrong with you, and I can prove there's nothing wrong with you. What it came down to one time was my dad, I don't know what I did, it's something probably with low self-esteem, and I was 9 years old, and we lived in a really small town in Colorado, and he said, you know what, I'll just take you to Denver, and I'll get you in some TV commercials just to show you there's nothing wrong with you. And I went, okay, I believe you. I was so afraid of that kind of attention, and I was painfully shy. So I just, okay, I believe you. And I didn't necessarily believe him, but it felt like what he was saying was true. So I realized keeping quiet is a better way. Just keep quiet and just kind of observe everyone around you and see what's really going on. Because it wasn't me. It really was the people making fun of me. It really was everyone else who sees me and puts me in a box. And then I didn't know what box to be in. And in the end, I just chose to be in my own box. So I don't identify as anything other than Melissa Pope.
I love that. Yeah, that's who you are.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you have 2 boys.
I do.
What has your experience, how has it shaped the conversation you have with your children?
Well, I specifically didn't raise my kids in an all-white or all-black neighborhood. My ex-husband is French. He's dark hair, and in the summer his skin gets as dark as mine, and in the winter it's pasty white. My older son has my skin color, and my younger son is very white. They both identify as black. And I never identified as anything growing up, and I didn't know that was a thing, and so I find it very interesting, and I have some friends that I'll call and talk to when I have some questions. Like, these kids have a strong identity in being black, and how do I navigate around certain things? And my younger son is 15, and he had a family that he was close with. I go, well, you know, you're more racially ambiguous than black, and it's just, what's that mean to you? If you identify as black, then that's what you identify as. One person or one family of people can't tell you that you're something different, because I felt like they were trying to take that away from him a little bit, and that scared me. I want them to be comfortable in their own skin, and I feel like I've done that. I don't know if I've made mistakes along the way. I don't think that we know necessarily as parents until they get older and complain to us. So I have a lot of complaints about my parents, but then as an adult, you realize everything they did was to protect me against the things that went wrong in their lives as children. So it's just a vicious circle. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely been a ride, though.
I bet. I bet they know they're lucky to have you as their mom.
I hope so. I hope so.
My parents are both from Cameroon, and I was born here. However, when I go to Cameroon, I'm always the outsider. And in America as well, I'm not quite American. So when I have the paper and it says pick, it's kind of like, like, is black the color of your skin? Is black culture? What does that mean? It's so nuanced, but you make a choice to define who you are and what your name and your identity represents. You stated that so beautifully, and your boys are actually living that. It's a testament to the legacy you're leaving for them. I think that's amazing.
Oh, thank you.